Luke Thomas Show on Sirius XM Rush 93.
Welcome back, Luke Thomas Show, 844-796-7874. Be sure to give the station account a follow on Twitter at MMA on Sirius XM. Joining me now on the hotline, one of the best lightweights in the world. He just beat Massaranduba, Francisco Trinaldo, at UFC Fortaleza over the weekend. Back from Brazil to talk about it, the Motown phenom himself, Kelvin Lee. Kevin, welcome to the show.
What's going on, my man? It's always great to be here.
I think it's the first time I've had you on the show, but it's long overdue. Thank you for being here, man.
Oh, yeah, of course. You know, I listen to the show a couple times here and there, so, you know, I'm happy to do it for sure.
Of course. How was the flight back from Brazil?
Oh, it was brutal. We got, we got redirected. It took me 36 hours to get here.
Oh, no.
I'm just happy to be around some English-speaking people for a little while, you know. It's been 2 weeks since I've been around everybody that speaks English, so I'm enjoying myself right now.
So wait, you live in Las Vegas, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so how did you where did you get rerouted to that it took 36 hours to get home?
Man, we had to go through Fortaleza to Rio to Houston, Houston to Denver, and then Denver to Vegas, and every one of those stops is like, 2 or 3 hours in between. It was just, it was rough. It went, I got to flirt with a couple of flight attendants, and they hooked me up. They gave me little rows by myself, and, the people down in Brazil, I didn't realize how big the sport was in Brazil, but pretty much everybody would recognize me that was Brazilian. So, it was pretty fun, to be in Vegas, and I get recognized here and there, but, not that much, especially if a big fight card or something isn't happening where a lot of fans are in town. But in Brazil, everybody, the taxi drivers, the waiters and the waitresses, even even my flight attendants, they all recognized me, wanted pictures, and they hooked me up for sure.
What grade would you give yourself for your second round submission win over Francisco Trinaldo?
I give myself like a C. You know what I mean? The first round, of course, as everybody sees, the first round was it was tough. The kid, he was a lot less telegraphic than I thought he was going to be. The very first punch came and hit me right in the eyeball, and I was seeing double for pretty much that whole first round. And that second big, he hit me with a nice left hand. So he kid hit hard. He came out with a chip on his shoulder and really tried to put me away. So. I felt like the second round, I really got my timing down, really started missing a lot of shots. The crowd was screaming even when he would miss the shots and the crowd would go wild. But, the second round, I give myself probably a B or an A, like close to an A as can get. But that first round was pretty tough.
Now, I want to talk about that second round in just a moment, but if we can, back to Trinaldo in that first round. You were able to take him down in parts, but it looked to me like you were surprised at his physical strength.
A little bit. He was. I thought he would be a little bit leaner, but no, the dude's built like a brick wall. I can see why they call him. Apparently, I got down and talked to. I don't speak much Portuguese, but got to talk to a couple of fans. And Massaranduba means a very hard wood. I guess it's the hardest wood on the planet, and that's what he feels like. He feels like it's like a rock. Like he's like a Glacier 2.0. So the first shot I did feel, I was like, oh man, yeah, he's solid as hell. I got to get on my timing and get on my rhythm. So the first round I felt like I was pushing for the takedowns a little bit too much, mostly because I was having trouble seeing. But the second round when I focused more on the strike and the takedowns came much easier. And he actually ended up shooting on me, which is a big one. He's a 3-time world champion kickboxer, and he shot in on me, which took me by surprise. So it was a good time.
Kelvin Lee joins us here on the Luke Thomas Show. So in that second round, I went back and I watched the fight. I was very impressed with some of the adjustments you made. And then, as you mentioned, it looked like you did find your timing and your range, and you rocked him with a head kick that it looked to me, correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, that you timed off of his cross. Is that right?
No, it's actually off the jab.
Off the jab, okay.
He threw a jab. I split the jab with the right hand, the first one, and he did the exact same jab. And that time I came with the right head kick. So the first time he threw the jab was with the right hand, and then the second one was with the head kick, and then that's when he shot in. I didn't even really, it landed pretty. He had his hand in, but it landed pretty flush. The kid's got a chin on him because I didn't even notice until he stepped back and kind of wobbled a bit that it really hurt him.
And then from there, it was really your world. You had his back. It was on the ground. You sunk the choke in. And what I really loved about it, like, have you done it before where you bow a guy out? And everyone who's ever applied a choke knows that that's certainly a way you want to do it to help finish. But it looked to me like when you first applied it, it was across the chin. And as you bowed him out, you slid under the chin, and he tapped pretty quickly thereafter.
Yeah, that's one of the big areas that I really have started to put a lot of focus on, especially my back control, because I get to the back a lot, So I really put a lot more focus with Robert Drysdale and Robert Fawless into finishing from the back. And sometimes I'll get a little too happy about going for the choke and forget about the, and I think that applies to most of us. We forget about the hip pressure, and the hip pressure is what makes the choke even easier, especially when it was so damn hot in that arena. I can't even begin to it really caught me off guard. We were sweating. I was sweating going in, my warm-up, I was completely drenched in sweat. We were completely drenched in sweat walking out. So I knew it was slippery, and all I had to do was just give him a little hip pressure. I've taken a lot of things from a lot of other guys that are great on the back, like Damian Maya, and really added it into my game.
Okay, so let's talk about the call-out afterwards. I thought this was very interesting. You called out Khabib Nurmagomedov. Now, look, I understand why you would want that fight. He's got a big name. He is seemingly available, although who the hell knows anymore with that. But let's assume that he is. But a lot of folks had responded, okay, Kevin, great win, but why are you calling out a guy who's at the very top of the division? Why not someone else who could be a tough challenge in a very stacked weight class somewhere in between?
Here's the thing. I don't see him as the very top of the division. I think his fans have made it that way. They talk him up. They talk him up a big game. But really, when you look at it, he's only beaten, two world-class fighters to me, two real fighters. So, I don't give him that much credit, to be honest. To me, he's not at the top of the division. People see it that way because he's got a big fan base. And if he put it this way, if he wasn't from Russia, there's no way he would be at the top of the division. His most impressive fight is Abel Trujillo, and this was 5-6 years ago. The guys were fighting in they weren't even fighting in Reebok gear. So when they make his highlight film, he won't even be in the Reebok shorts. So I'm not giving him I don't give him that much credit. He's only had 2 or 3 fights in the past 3-4 years, and I've had 10-11 fights since then, so I don't give the man much credit, to be honest with you.
So, what do you mean if he wasn't Russian, he wouldn't be this popular? You mean because the Russians seem to rally behind their fighters and they're a large population?
Yeah. I mean, you look at all you look at all those Russian dudes. It doesn't really mean much. The social media game, not too much, but even just looking at the social media, I've had so many, thousands and thousands of Russians hit me up and they want to say, call me all types of shit. You know what I mean? But even the Russian fighters, I think that other kid is whatever his name
Makhachev.
is. He's got 300,000 followers or something like crazy like that. With 1 or 2 UFC fights, and Khabib's got millions. It's because they're Russian. That's how it should be. The people should support their people. I'm not against that, but at the same time, we can't hype the guy up too much. I don't even understand how he's ranked above Ferguson when his biggest win is RDA, and Ferguson just stomped a better, improved version of RDA when he fought RDA 3-4 years ago.
So besides
he's like the Conor. Conor's kind of got the same thing for being Irish. You know what I mean? He had the big push up front. I'm seeing Khabib the same way. The man doesn't fight, but he still gets ranked above other guys. It just doesn't make sense. The only way it makes sense is because of his big fan base.
So does that mean you would like to rally? And obviously Detroit is not the same size as Russia or to an extent Ireland actually. But are you trying to rally the troops in your favor to get a similar kind of boost? Not an artificial one in terms of your ranking necessarily, but as a way to boost your profile.
Look, I've been very open and very I did a show with Brian Stan a little while ago, and we talked about this in length, and it's one of the big problems that guys like Tyrone is having, you know what I mean, with the, where he's making the comments about the race. And the the African American market is very hard to capture. The UFC hasn't gone full force into trying to capture it yet, you know what I mean? Just because they don't know. The UFC is a business first and foremost, they're going to go where the money is. So it's easier for them to push a guy like Sage and these guys that appeal to different. He appeals to like that jock, college boy type market. You know what I mean? And that's easier to push than the African American market, where, to be honest, there's not much money to be made there. They don't know if the money's going to be returned, so they don't go full in on it. And one of the big ways is, you got to get people not to like you. I look at somebody like Floyd, and I've even talked to Floyd about this. And the way he made his money is he got the Mexicans to not like him. They pay for his money. So if I got to get the Russians to hate me, so what? So be it. Then you kind of gotta. It's hard. It's hard to really market a black fighter these days. And I'm very open and honest about it.
Yeah, it might be hard to market to the African American community, but I don't know. I feel like, and obviously basketball is an entirely different game, but I feel like Nike's pretty good at it. Like, part of it is I'm not here like to turn this into another conversation about bashing Reebok, but there are other actors in the sports apparel and sports marketing place who have done it. Would you like to see the UFC work with them more? Like, do you think it's realistic that they even will?
I think once they see the money roll in, like I said, one of my big things is I'm going to bring the UFC to Detroit this year. I think once they see it kind of roll in, then they'll get behind it. You know what I mean? Like I said, they're a business, so they're going to make they aren't going to gamble much with these type of things. If they see the money, they'll be there all in. If they don't, then they won't. That's just the bottom line of it.
Kevin Lee joins us here on the Luke Thomas Show. Kevin, I want to talk about something that I get questioned about you, I should say, from others. So I'm just going to pitch it to you. I think I have an idea, but I'd rather hear it from the horse's mouth here. Why are you combative on Twitter?
I'm combative. I don't feel like I use Twitter much. People always say that. They always say I talk shit, and really I don't understand that.
No. Hold on. Let me clarify. I don't mean necessarily like, oh, F that guy. It's not exactly that. I mean, maybe it said that a little bit, but like if someone makes a run at you, you do not suffer fools gladly. So why are you combative on Twitter?
That's for sure. Well, I mean, that's just the way I grew up, though. You know what I mean? So that's just for sure. If somebody got something to say about me, I'm gonna say about them. You know what I mean? I actually love that. I love when they go back and forth. I'd love for somebody to call me out, because it gives me that extra boost to get up in the morning. I mean, that's just it's just like how I grew up. We grew up talking shit and fighting. So for me, that's more fun. It's more sport than anything. I love it when they go back and forth. Oh man, that's more fun to me than anything. I'm sitting there smiling the whole time while doing it. And if they want to do it in person, it's even better. I seriously have fun with it. That's the only reason, because most of the time when I go back and forth with guys, it doesn't even get a lot of press, or not even a lot of fans see it. It's just I just do it for the sport of it, for the fun of it. It's just more fun for me, to be honest.
A couple more questions for you, and appreciate your time here. Looking at your record, it's really impressive. You made your UFC debut against Al Iaquinta, and it didn't go your way. It was only your 8th professional fight, a unanimous decision loss. So that one I'm less, concerned about. The one that still just sort of really stands out to me is that Leonardo Santos loss. If that bout had gone your way, you'd have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 fight win streak going. How much do you kick yourself over that Leonardo Santos loss? And the reason why I asked that is because I believe previously you told me you just didn't take his hand seriously before that contest. Oh,
I definitely didn't. And it did take me a while to kind of come to terms with that and kind of understand it, you know what I mean, and really just be honest with myself. And I'm happy for it, because it's just going to make me a better fighter. These everybody in this game has losses, but not a lot of people have them at that level. We were fighting. It was the last fight right before on UFC 194, which was a huge card when McGregor fought Aldo. So a lot of people got to see it and see that struggle, but I mean, everybody at the top of the game. You name me any top fighter, they've got 2-3 losses already, and those losses are where you improve and where you really become a great fighter. And I think everybody in the world. I mean, it was such a big upset too. I think it was 10-1 upset. I think everybody in the world kind of understands. You're gonna fuck up sometimes. Sometimes you're gonna get punched, and sometimes you're gonna get hit, and you just gotta roll with them. Everybody understands that I'm a better fighter than Leonardo. I'm really, to be honest, I'm not even too interested in even if they offer me a rematch. I would take it, but, I'm not really pushing for it. I don't really think I need it. I feel like I feel like I'm already the better fighter, and I don't really need to. And everybody understands that. You know, you just sometimes you're gonna lose, and sometimes you're gonna win. So, you know, for me, I'm taking it as a W, and it's because I gained so much from that loss, and it's turned my game around completely.
You know, we ask a lot of fighters, we ask them to compete, we ask them to be good on social media, and we always ask them to do part of their own matchmaking responsibilities. So tell us who you want. And you mentioned Khabib. Speaking realistically, however, from my vantage point as a journalist, I find it unlikely for them to make that. So let me pitch to you this another way. They're probably going to reserve him for something else with Tony or who knows, at some later date. Could be as late as September. I doubt you want to wait that long. So if it comes to that, who else do you have your eye on? Who else would make sense for you in this division?
You know, yeah, I'm right there, which I understand that, you know, I'm pretty honest with myself too, you know what I mean? I it's just a closed mouth don't get fed. So if I don't ask for it, they won't give it to me, you know what I mean?
Right.
I look at a guy like Nate. Nate didn't deserve that fight with Conor, you know. He just said, hey, it happened to work out, great timing. So, you know, it didn't work out to be great timing, and that's the best fight for me to be is to fight Khabib. He's the easiest fight for the most amount of money. So, but if not, then, you know, I'm looking to get back in there in July before the end of the year. Somebody like Chiesa sounds pretty good. You know, we would probably take that one because I don't think Chiesa's definitely not going to get Tony. You know, that's the only one he's pushing for. He's pushing for Tony, and then I think he wants to fight Barboza. I don't think he's going to get that one either. So I think they do Tony and Barboza again. I think everybody kind of wants to see that rematch. I think Khabib won't come back and fight because he wants to be a little bitch and sit out for however long again, which I don't understand why this man doesn't fight, but he's such a great fighter, and the man never fights. So he's going to end up fighting once this year. His fans are going to give him a lot of credit for it. But somebody like Chiesa probably will be a backup.
All right. Well, I don't know what's going to happen next, but I'm looking forward to it. Sensational win on Saturday over Massaran Duba. Only 24 years old, Kevin Lee. Mr. Motown Phenom, thank you for your time, and can't wait to see you fight again.
My man. I can't wait to get back in there with it.
All right. Take care. There he goes. Let's do this. Let's go to break. When we come back, we got some folks on hold. We'll get to them as well. 844-796-7874. It's the Luke Thomas Show. Coming right back.